I can count on no hands the number of times that a parent was like, oh, my child helped me with the medical bill or helped me, with something. Not saying your kids are bad. Your kids are wonderful. But we just have to be realistic about, as we get older, what our children are actually going to be able to do for us financially.
As parents, we want the best for our kids, right? We want them to have a bright future. And for many, helping our kids save for college and the education that goes along with it, it's a popular choice to achieve that bright future. But with many parents not financially secure themselves, we need to put our own financial oxygen masks on first, right? So to help us learn about these important financial moves to make before helping our kids pay for college, I've invited Dorethia Kelly on the show today. Dorethia is a nationally recognized and award-winning financial expert and coach, specializing in helping ordinary people conquer their worst fears on the way to becoming debt-free and financially independent. Her new and improved book, MoneyChat: How to Get Out of Debt, Manage Your Money, and Create Financial Freedom, is available now. Welcome to the show, Dorethia.
Hi, Andy. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a long time coming. You and I have known each other for a long time, both Detroit natives, and
yes.
I'm glad we're getting together here and having this chat. So let's talk about this. What happens when parents focus on helping their kids with college and then neglect themselves financially?
You know what? And it happens so much because we kind of feel that guilt as a parent. We want our kids to have everything. We want them to have oftentimes more than we had, and we want to provide them with that. But you must put yourself on good financial solid ground first, because your child can get scholarships for school. Your time to save for your retirement and plan for your financial future, even if you think a year out or 2 years out, is now. But your child has other options, and they've got a lifetime to deal with how they're going to pay for their education or go to college and figure out how they're going to repay their loans. But you as a parent, you need to focus on, how am I going to make sure I'm financially secure first?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think even as the words are coming out of your mouth, I feel that parent guilt sometimes where I'm like, well, if I start now, then they can be a jabillionaire by the time they're whatever age, But then I'm like, well, is my emergency fund full for a potential recession that's coming up? Things like that, And I'm not thinking about that. Have you experienced that as a financial coach? Have you seen parents go into this mode of like, well, I'm going to make sure my kids have it better than I do, but then neglect it themselves?
Absolutely. I had a client who depleted her 401k. And I said, I really wish you had come to me before you did this, because now you've got to rebuild all those years and you've only got so many more years to work. So now your retirement is pushed out. It happens all the time. The thing is with parents, I just want you to know that, like you just said a minute ago, Andy, you've got to put your own oxygen mask on first. Because if you're financially secure while your children are in college, you can help them. If you spend all your money trying to get them to college and pay for their college, if something goes bump in your finances, a car breaks down, there's a medical emergency, you're not able to help yourself or them. And nobody really wants to be in that kind of situation.
Absolutely. Well, let's get specific on those financial moves to make before we help our kids with college, because it's a blessing to be able to help our kids with college.
It is.
Not everybody can do it. So let's talk about some of those things we need to check off the box personally before we do that as parents.
Number one, you want to make sure that you are tackling your debt. So what that looks like is being honest with what you have and what's out there, taking a look at it and saying, okay, what is my plan to pay this off? What is my plan to pay off my debt? And then think about your spending habits. We talk about this all the time. I know everybody's like, oh, okay, fine, spending habits. But the truth is, it's just very real. Some of this stuff is foundational and it's just very real. So you got debt, you've got your spending habits. And I'm not somebody to say that you can't live life while you're paying off your debt. I believe in living life. Some of us need to take a little break from living life a little bit, and we need to focus. So think about what that looks like, because it is true. If you took a year or two and focused on, how can I get on solid financial ground? How can I pay off my debt? How can I make sure that I'm able to pay my bills every month, and at the end of the month have some money left over? Do I need to increase my income, whether that's getting more money at my current job or finding a part-time job or a side gig? What do you need to do as a parent to get yourself on good financial ground right now? That's the first step, just to have that honest conversation.
Absolutely. And once we have that kind of epiphany about where the money's going, how much is coming in, how much is going out, and then maybe we're starting to create a little gap in between that income and the expenses, what do we do with that extra money? How do we create wealth? How do we, I guess, make sure that we are feeling financially secure? So we've got those financial oxygen masks on first before helping our kids. What do we do next?
The next thing you want to do, we already know emergency fund. You want to be planning for emergencies. I believe in that because I was a single mother with 2 girls. And when I learned how to actually get an emergency fund and what to put in it, it blew my mind. I had never heard of that before, and it saved me from a lot of tears. I had experienced those tears I tell the story of being at the dentist's office and going into the bathroom and crying because of the bill I was about to incur. But then I've also been on the other side of that when I was able to go into my emergency fund. And you can call it emergency fund, opportunity fund, whatever it is, just fund it, put some money there so that I knew what it was like to be able to write the check, to be able to swipe and pay. And it is a relief and a big boulder off of your shoulders. So definitely emergency fund. And then once you get to the place where you're kind of feeling good and you got your debt under control and you've got your emergency fund and you've got money at the end of the month after you pay all your bills, now you can think about, okay, investing. How do I grow my money? How do I secure my money? Make sure you have your life insurance. Make sure that you are setting yourself up to have relief and freedom, financial freedom, versus every month just trying to figure things out and kind of on this teeter-totter. You really want to be on solid financial ground. So those are the first things that I would suggest that you really specifically look at. Make sure that insurance is very important. We talk about power of attorneys and wills and things. These are just some things, and they're not so basic, right? You've got to get with someone and understand them, but those are the things that you need to set up before you. Definitely, please don't take any money out of your retirement to pay for your kids' college and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And I've seen some statistics out there that parents are doing that. People are saying, hey, that's going to be the route that I'm going to do to pay for my kids' college at their sacrifice. And yeah, it's going to have some detrimental effects.
But tell me this, Andy, and this is the thing that I really want people to think about. If your child did not get the scholarships, not because maybe they didn't try, maybe they just didn't, but these days the students, and I had this with my children, they didn't want to apply for the scholarships. I do not understand it. I don't know why. They don't want to go get this free money. But if your child isn't willing to do that, which is writing essays and submitting them, why would you deplete your life savings for them to go to college? Make sure that it's not you internal. They've got to want it too. And if they're not willing to do that, yes, we still want you to go to school, but guess what? There's vocational school and there's community college. So you go there, and then when you want it as bad as I want it for you, then go on over to the 4-year college.
I love that. There's so much truth behind that too, because I think that I suffer from it. I suffer from that parent guilt or whatever we want to call it, where I'm like, I'm going to do everything for them. But it's you make a good point. Are they putting the weight behind this too? Are they sitting down on Sundays and writing out those scholarship forms and getting the thousands and thousands of dollars of free money to participate? Talk to us about. Let's dive into scholarships a little bit more. Like how available are these scholarships for people? Sometimes this feels like a mystery out there, the money that's available. Talk to us about the scholarship industry and what people can actually get.
Absolutely. I have sat on scholarship decision committees. I fought with my own kids about scholarships. They did some did nothing. And then I'm like, listen. So I experienced that too, especially with my youngest daughter. She begged me. She did do scholarships though. I said I would never do a Parent Plus loan. She begged me to do it. I think I did it. I took out like $6,000. And I told her, if you go to school and you cut up, this money, I'm not covering this. She went to school and she cut up and she paid my money back.
Good for you, Mom.
But to your question, scholarships, there is money out there for your student. So, and listen, it's like a part-time job for you and your student. I am not going to kid you about this. When I was going to college, I did it on my own. My mother did not help me. She was not about that life. She was like, you better handle your business. I did it myself. I probably applied for 50 scholarships. I did get quite a bit of money to go for my first 2 years for sure. Your student can do the same. And don't think that because maybe your student is a C student, it's okay. There are other types of scholarships that they can get. Here's my thing. If your child is trying, if they are sitting down doing those scholarships and they are giving their best, if they don't get any, it's fine. It's fine because they did the work. They tried. But if your student is fighting with you every time, I had my kids write a spreadsheet. Oh, they hated it. I said, I want to know who you applied for, when it's due. We did the whole thing. Have your student do that. And as long as they're putting forth the effort, then yes, we're gonna help them move forward. But if you're like, you didn't get scholarships, you didn't try to get scholarships. So the money is out there for anything that you want to apply for. Definitely start with your churches. A lot of churches and other institutions of faith give scholarships. The local businesses give scholarships. You can start as early as junior high school with scholarships for your student. So just start looking. It is like a part-time job. It does have to go in the schedule. Your kids are going to fight you. Oh, they're going to fight you. But stick to your guns, parents. And I also want to ask you not to write their essays for them, please. And I thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned part-time job, but if you're successful enough with this and you stick with it and you find a system, that hourly rate for what you'll earn with this part-time job is going to be any hourly rate you might get at whatever, the typical teenage job, right?
Exactly. Think about the money. Think about them coming out of college with no debt. Think about that. It is completely worth it. I just wish more of our youth understood that. I wish they could see the future. Parents too, because parents just throw their hands up. And listen, I know it's hard. I know it's a lot. You've got school activities, you've got homework, you've got your own job. You're tired too. And then you've got to battle with a teenager about scholarships. So I get it.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the parent that's saying, okay, I think I've got some of my financial stuff together. I got that emergency fund. I'm saving for my retirement. I'm even doing a little bit of the 529. I'm looking at the numbers. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the amount of money that we need for college. So we talked about scholarships.
Yeah.
What else could people consider besides saving up in a 529 and scholarships? You mentioned community college, other options like that. Let's talk about that.
Not only community college, but vocational work. There's a shortage of blue collar labor that pays six figures because people are not really tapping into that. But vocational school and community college. I remember when I came out of college, there was a stigma on community college, and there may still be with some students. When I did my first 2 years at a private college at that, I wished I had gone to community college first. Honestly, it is a good route for any student to take that doesn't get at least a partial or full scholarship. Definitely go to community college first. Do your first 2 years there and then transfer. And at the beginning, you have to know what college you want to transfer to so that whatever classes you take in the community college, they will take those credits. So be strategic about that. But it is the smartest move because the goal is to go to college as cheaply as possible. Like it's a game. You have to win the game. And I once heard someone say that if the college that your student chooses is having where they're building on another wing or something, don't send your student to that college because the tuition is going to go up.
Oh yeah, they got to pay for it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. They got to pay for it. So I think that community college and vocational school are such great options. And even especially the IT field, I'm really big with the IT field right now because it is a great way. It's been like this the entire time because I remember when I was coming out of college, I had friends who were getting IT certifications. Mm-hmm. They were making more. I took out a business degree. They were making twice what I was making with a 4-year degree with the IT certification. They finished school in 2 years and they were working. So that's something to think about which field your student goes into. Not that we're forcing, we're just making introductions and giving them other options.
I think it's a really good point. Opening up the playing field to saying, yes, hey, where are the options available? And it's not like, these are high paying jobs.
They are high paying
potentially
jobs.
Maybe more fulfilling too. You're using your hands, you're working, you're getting something done. Yes. I know working in a cubicle for 15 years, sometimes I lost my mind, But if you're able to use your hands, do something, get something done, I think that there's a lot of benefits to that.
And not have the burden of those student loans. I look at my friends who went that route and they were done paying for their loans and I was still trying to figure it out.
I think that's a great point. And I think there's a big marketing machine around the college industry. And it
Oh
makes
my
sense.
God.
It's like, hey, it's pushed on us to say, hey, do this, because there's a lot of money behind it, and
It is.
there's a big business right there. So we got to think as smart consumers, we got to think as smart parents. I think this conversation's fantastic, Dorothea.
Yeah.
There is one parent listening right now, and they're saying, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but you know what? I want my kid to have it better than I did. I don't care if that means that my life's a financial disaster. What would you say to that person?
I would say that I just want you to just take a step back, and I want you to look at your future in 20 years. Let's even say in 10 years. There's no guarantee that when your child finishes college, when you need help, I mean, let's just do the numbers here. I can count on no hands the number of times that a parent was like, oh, my child helped me with the medical bill or helped me, with something. Not saying your kids are bad. Your kids are wonderful. But we just have to be realistic about, as we get older, what our children are actually going to be able to do for us financially. So if your finances are a mess and you're helping your child what if they don't finish college? I told you about my daughter. But you can't, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Now, if she's listening, my daughter did finish. She's a nurse. But in the beginning, it was rough, right? So you can't put yourself in a situation to where you have nothing to give while you're propping them up to be successful and they're not appreciating or working for it. If you do everything for them, they will not know how to operate. So they've got to have some skin in the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not creating an independent adult at that point.
No,
If you're
not
doing
at
everything
all.
for them and you're not filling up your own cup, then you have nothing to
Absolutely.
give out of that cup. Absolutely. Dorothea, this is fantastic advice, and I know you have a lot more great advice in your new and improved book, Money Chat. Tell us about
Yes,
that and
yes,
where people can get
yes.
it.
Yes, thank you so much. This is Money Chat. This is the new and updated version. I wrote the first version 8 years ago, and I felt like there was just some more to add with what is going on now in our finances. So much going on in the world around money. And so you can definitely get it at moneychatbook.com.
Yeah, and it's a great book, everybody. I'm excited for Dorothea to get it out there because it is that roadmap that walks you through that path to financial freedom. And I'm excited to honor her today. Dorothea, thank you so much
Thank
for your time. I
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.